So I just watched the Florida Project because Daddy's Home 2 wasn't working and Pitch Perfect 3 weren't working. And so I was like, people keep telling me to watch the Florida Project. And, as I said in Darkest Hour, I was like, oh, it's my duty as a Floridian to support this Florida movie. Now I really wasn't excited for it. So I was like, it's fine. I'll just play 2K while I quote unquote watch. And this movie's so good. I actually really like this movie. It's about like this little girl and her mom, and they live in this hotel in this little like crappy motel in what's it called, in Orlando, and like it's all shot in like real places in Orlando. Like I live here, so like I know what Orlando looks like. I go there a lot, so like there's like stores, all these like like off-brand like stores where they're like, oh, Disney stuff, you buy Disney, Universals, the SeaWorld stuff, here are the stores, like really weird touristy shops. They're like really like ghetto and like cheap looking, but yeah, it's like, so like this kind of hit home for me a bit, where it was like, oh wow, I know this place, like I've been here before, like often, like, so that it kind of hit home for me. But yeah, really, this movie is just showcasing you the life of this mom and her child, and it's so terrible. And like the scariest part about this movie is a horror movie. Honestly, this is the scariest movie I've seen all year. It's terrifying to see this mother and her child and the way they live, and that there's people actually like this. They spend the kid is left to no supervision. They're just left to go around the city as they please. That's like crappy part of town. The mom, spoilers, turns out to be like, what is it? Where you? Why am I forgetting the word for they pay you to have sex with them? What? How am I forgetting this? Okay, she's whore. No. Prostitute! Haha! Wow, that was so genuine. I'm not even kidding. Like, I actually just forgot what the word prostitute was, and that was all real. Wow. Okay. So, she's a prostitute, and she, like, they steal things, and, like, she stole this one guy's magic bands, like, his Disney tickets, and, like, sold them to this other guy, and, like, she's just the worst kind of person. She'll buy like wholesale perfumes and then goes and tries to sell them to people at like nice hotels, and like she's this really trashy, like piercings everywhere, tattoos. If you have piercing tattoos, sorry, I don't like those. I think they're trashy. Like there's one on her lip, and she's got them all over her chest and body everywhere, and I don't know, if you're into that, good for you, but me, ew, disgusting. And so like this woman is just like the worst. And then you see, like, in this movie, how her kid acts, and, like, you're like, oh, no, she's gonna grow up to be like that mom one day. Oh, my gosh, I see them sitting there taking selfies with each other, and the mom's, like, taking, like, these super slutty, like, gross selfies and making her daughter take them, and, like, she has these guys come over, like, she's a prostitute, she has the guys come over to have sex with her every night, and she like makes her daughter go in the bathroom and plays like loud like rap music filled with like all this cursing and talking about bad things. This girl's like what, like 8? Like what? And like one time they even walked in the bathroom and like saw that there was a kid there, and there was like the guy was like, what the heck? And like, oh my gosh, like the kid like it makes the other kids worse too, because she like convinces them to like do like crappy things, like they like steal money from people, they Jesus Christ, excuse me, they what else, they burnt down a building. Like that was crazy. And like like it was weird to me because like I noticed like they were like throwing like rocks and stuff at it, and like breaking windows and stuff and being very violent. And, like, you see, like, them put a pillow in the fireplace, and then, like, they start to light it, and it, like, catches a little bit, and then it just cuts to, like, later, and you're like, oh, they didn't have the budget to actually burn a house down. Turns out they did, because they actually did burn down a house, and, but, like, I see why they didn't want kids being in a burning house. But yeah, and then the mom, like, they all go and watch the house burn, and the mom, like, says, this is good, this is a good thing. And, like, so now in her head, she doesn't see the consequences of burning this house down. There are no reparations, and her mom even encourages it. This is insane, that the people, like, live like this. In this part of town, like, there's a scene where all the kids are, like, playing, like, near, like, the, by the lake, on, like, with the picnic tables, and then there's just this, like, old, creepy-looking dude there, and he's like, oh, hey, what's your name? And, like, Willem Dafoe is fantastic in this movie. I love Willem Dafoe. He's great, but, like, so Willem Dafoe comes up and he's like, "Excuse me, sir, do you live here?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I was just I was looking for a soda." He's like clearly lying, right? And like he's saying he's looking for like a soda, and he's like, "Oh, you stopped at a motel to get soda, really?" And like so Willem Dafoe walks him over to like a soda, like a drink dispenser. Oh my god. A vending machine. I'm dumb today. Okay, but yeah, and like he like puts the money in, gets the drink, and Willem Dafoe's like, "Why aren't you drinking it right now? You said you were parched." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you're right," and then takes a drink of it, and like Willem Dafoe like smacks it out of his hands and starts pushing him and is like, "Leave!" And like, because it's clearly obvious, this fucking pedophile. Like, oh my gosh, it's terrifying. That like this could like he could. Like, if Willem Dafoe wasn't there, what was that guy going to do to those kids? Like, that's crazy. And, like, he starts, like, pushing him. And then at one point, he, like, wrestles him for a second and gets his wallet. And, like, at first I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a little bit too much, Willem Dafoe. But then he was just doing that so he can find out the guy's real name. So he could report him to the police. And I was like, yes, Willem Dafoe, you are a god. And, like, Willem Dafoe's just great in general because you just feel so bad for him because he's trying to run this crappy motel. And, like, he's having to deal with all these awful, terrible people. And, like, oh, my gosh. And, like, there's another, like, I could tell it was improvised scene where there was, like, sandhill cranes, which, like, I'm Floridian. I know, man. I get it. They're everywhere all the time. They're so annoying. And he's just, like, get out of here. You know, scram, you know, like, no harm, no foul. There's a joke to be made there somewhere. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, Willem Dafoe, you're great. Another thing that was crazy is, like, they're watching, like, this street fight in the parking lot, and, like, people are getting run over by this car, and it's, like, crazy. And, like, this movie is terrifying to see, to know that people like this exist, and, like, they're making more of these people. Like, this little girl is a spitting image of her mother, and you just know that she's going to grow up to be exactly like her mom. And that's terrifying. I love how when the child services comes, it's night, you're like, yes, finally. But then they leave and you're like, no! And then they come back and get him and I'm like, good. And like the mom's ending where she just screams the F word, and it's like a close-up of her mouth, that was great, because it really showcases how trashy she is. But yeah, jeez Louise. But, like, and then they, like, cut to, like, the little girl. She ran away to go see her best friend. But it was weird, because, like, the movie starts, and, like, and this Hispanic kid are, like, spitting on this on this lady's car. And this lady has a daughter, and they're, like, the ladies are yelling at the kids, and the kids are, like, cursing at the mom, like, calling her a bitch and all this stuff, and you're like, what the heck are these kids? And then like she goes over and asks Willem Dafoe to like get the mom of the kids, and she's like, oh hey, like make them clean it up, and they like are cleaning up her windshield, and like they make the daughter of the lady also help them, and she's like, oh it's okay, mom, they call you the P word and everything, but like it's fine. I'm like, no, kid. So, like, I don't know. It didn't impact me that much at the end when she, like, went up to her and she was like, oh, sorry. Okay, so I got a phone call. I hate that when I'm doing these and I get a phone call. Yeah, so then the redhead, like, takes the girl's hand and they, like, run away. And then they're, like, running and you can see them running through town. And eventually you can tell they're in, like, Disney properties. You can see the Disney things and everything. And then they just go to Magic Kingdom and, like they're running around holding hands and like it was a cool shot, and And I guarantee it was guerrilla filmmaking. There's no way that Disney was like, here, go ahead and do this. Like, they just, like, had a camera and they just did it and they left. I mean, obviously, I know that didn't actually happen. Like, I know, like, it was just, I don't know, though. What's the point of that, though? Like, what's the meaning behind it? Because this girl does not deserve to be redeemed. This little brat kid is awful. Like, the redhead's nice. You can tell, like, the brat and then this kid named Scooter, they're, like, awful people, awful kids. But the redhead's, like, sitting there, like, I can tell you guys are terrible, like, people. And, like, it's, like, messed up. But, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess, because it's not her fault. I guess that's why. It's not the kid's fault because she was raised that way. Her mom was a piece of shit. And so she grew up to be a piece of shit. She's going to grow up to be a piece of shit. But yeah, wow, that was just, the ending of this movie just impacted me. I was like watching this kid and I'm like, the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, oh my God, these people exist. Like, this is terrifying. And I'm at a weird spot because like, I think I'm going to add a new rule to my rating system. Because, like, usually 5 out of 5 means, like, I'd watch it. I'm going to watch it again eventually. I know I'm going to watch it again. But then I'm going to go also just impacted. Because, like, I love this movie. I think it was beautifully shot. I think it was amazingly acted. The kids did great. Willem Dafoe's great. Everyone's fantastic. It looks so beautiful. It's, like, and it's just, like, there's not really much of a plot, but it's just a glimpse inside the lives of these awful people. At like one point, the mom beats up her old friend, and you're like, she doesn't say anything about it. Like you'd think like she'd call the cops and be like, "Hey, I got beat up," but I mean, I guess I don't know. But like, yeah, because I really want to go 5 out of 5. That's how much, because it impacted me, not only on a personal level because it's my home, like it also impacted me because I was just like so floored by these people, and it was so real and genuine and raw. And I feel like I would watch it again. Like, I don't know, like, because Nick said he wanted to watch it. Nick was like, hey, Adam, like, can we watch this together? I really want to watch this. I'd watch it with him. I'd be okay with it because it's so good. And, like, it's a movie I'd want to show to other people, especially people that live here because, you know, we live here. But, yeah, 5 out of 5. That makes 17 movies this year that I give 5 stars. I'm so soft. But, wow, yeah, this movie is great. Should have been nominated for Best Picture. Forget Phantom Thread. Forget all these other, movies. Like, this movie is good. It impacted me. Like, I'm going to remember this. Like, wow, these awful, terrible people, like, exist. And there's probably plenty more there. And you just feel so bad for Willem Dafoe. Like, oh, he's fantastic. # my Green Goblin. But, yeah, wow. Okay, that's pretty much it. 5 out of 5. I'm so happy I went and watched it. If you live around here, and like around Orlando, you've been to Orlando a lot, go watch this movie. There's so many landmarks in it that, like, not landmarks, but like places that you'll recognize if you ever took road trips and you like looked out the window, like now kids don't because they have their phones. But I don't either because I have my phone. But, like, I remember so many car trips just seeing, like, the giant wizard and, like, the giant orange world and, like, Twisty Cone. And this movie really hit home for me because it is my home. That's it.